Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're driving into something literally every single one of us has to deal with, but very few of us actually fully understand. We're talking about the vast, incredibly complex world of driving laws and motor vehicle administration. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to treat the process of navigating all these dense driving laws and bureaucratic red tape just like a video game. As you'll see, we'll be looking at escalating levels of difficulty, starting off with the everyday driver and going all the way up to some absolute logistical nightmares.
It really brings up a question we have to ask ourselves. We all love the romance of the open road, right? The wind in your hair, the total freedom to just go anywhere. But behind all that freedom is a massive, highly structured engine of state and federal regulations. So, is the ultimate road trip a dream of pure freedom? Or is it actually a bureaucratic nightmare of DMV paperwork, registrations, and strict legal codes? Well, by the end of this explainer, you might just view your driver's license in a whole new light.
Here is our level select screen for today's journey. First up, navigating Hawaii's DMV system. Second, commercial driver license rules. Third, DUIs and ignition interlocks. And finally, foreigners driving across America. Let's jump right in. Level 1, navigating Hawaii's DMV system, the everyday driver experience. Now, the everyday driver experience might seem pretty simple on the surface. But, as anyone who has spent an entire afternoon sitting in a hard plastic chair just waiting for their number to be called knows, it requires some real strategy. For instance, if you are in Honolulu, you don't just go to the DMV, you actually have to choose between a driver licensing center and a satellite city hall. If you need a road test or an initial state ID, you absolutely must go to a full driver licensing center, like the one in Kapalama or Kapolei. But if you just need to renew your vehicle registration or maybe get a duplicate license, the satellite city halls in places like downtown or Hawaii Kai totally have you covered. Knowing this distinction is basically your first rule of survival, so you don't waste your time standing in the wrong line.
And that brings us to the ultimate cheat code for Level 1, the appointment system. Over in Honolulu, it's called Aloha Queue. Step 1 is utilizing this online portal to book your specific time slot. Step 2, and this is crucial, is gathering your precise forms beforehand. To give you an example, if you move, both Maui and Honolulu require you to submit a DMVL 505 Notice of Change of Address form within exactly 30 days. Step 3 is just showing up and skipping that massive walk-in line. But here is a quick pro tip straight from our sources. Always check the alerts. Recent weather events like Tropical Storm Lala caused sudden cancellations of Saturday appointments. Bureaucracy answers to absolutely no one, and definitely not the weather.
Moving right along, Level 2, Commercial Driver License Rules, the Pro. When you step into the cab of an 18-wheeler or hazardous materials transport, the stakes, and obviously the vehicles themselves, get so much larger. And because of that, the bureaucracy becomes incredibly rigorous. We can look directly at Hawaii's Act 130 to really understand this. Act 130 meticulously defines exactly what you are driving. Take a tank vehicle, for instance. What is it? Well, it's not just some truck with a tank in the back. It is specifically defined as a commercial motor vehicle designed to transport liquid or gaseous materials within an attached tank that has a rated capacity of over 1,000 gallons. The law leaves absolutely zero room for ambiguity here because the public safety implications are massive.
So the crucial takeaway here is how terrifyingly fast you can lose your livelihood at this level. Act 130 outlines some incredibly strict disqualifications and cancellations for a commercial driver's license, or CDL. The examiners of drivers is legally mandated to disqualify any person from driving a commercial vehicle for at least one entire year for a whole variety of first-time offenses. It is an incredibly rigorous, almost zero-tolerance legal framework that professionals have to navigate perfectly every single day.
Let's talk about one of those strict rules to put this into perspective, 0.04. For a standard non-commercial driver in most states, the legal blood alcohol content limit is 0.08%. But for a commercial driver under these regulations, it is literally slashed in half to 0.04%. If you are operating a commercial motor vehicle with a BAC of 0.04 or more, you are out. Furthermore, Act 130 states that operating a commercial vehicle with any measured alcohol at all, even just a 0.01%, results in an immediate 24-hour out-of-service order.
Let's just rapid-fire run through the immediate disqualifiers for a CDL. Driving under the influence at 0.04 or higher, refusing to submit to a breathalyzer test, leaving the scene of an accident, using a motor vehicle in the commission of any felony, or the unlawful transport of controlled substances while on duty. Committing any of these gets you that one-year ban. But wait, here's the kicker. If you commit any of these offenses while transporting hazardous materials that require a placard, that ban automatically jumps to a minimum of 3 years. And if you use a commercial vehicle in a felony involving the manufacturing or distribution of controlled substances, that is an automatic, non-negotiable lifetime disqualification. Game over.
Okay, things are getting serious now. Level 3, DUIs and ignition interlocks. The penalty box.
So what actually happens when a regular driver seriously breaks the rules? We're going to look at Hawaii Revised Statute Section 291E 61.6 to understand the amazingly complex pathway back from a severe DUI, specifically for someone who is facing a lifetime license revocation. Under Hawaii law, getting back on the road after a lifetime revocation is absolutely not a free pass. It is a heavily monitored, highly restricted trial period. The state doesn't just hand your license back and wish you well. No, they require the installation of an ignition interlock device, which is basically a miniature pathologizer connected directly to your car's engine that prevents it from even starting if it detects alcohol.
And the process to even get a restricted permit is grueling. Step 1, you actually have to formally petition the district court, providing certified abstracts that prove you have no pending traffic matters, that you've paid all your fines, and that you've completed substance abuse treatment. If the court grants it, Step 2 is installing that ignition interlock on a vehicle just so you can use it for your driving test. Step 3, you have to present a certified statement of eligibility to the examiner, pass the written test, and then pass the physical driving demonstration using that specific interlock-equipped car. Only then, at Step 4, can you secure an ignition interlock permit. It is rigid, it's highly specific, and it is totally unforgiving.
Once you actually get that permit in your hands, the clock starts. You are at year 0. For the next 5 years, and that's a minimum of 5 consecutive years, you have to maintain a flawless record. The law explicitly requires that you have the interlock installed without a break of more than 30 days. And you cannot have a single attempt to operate the vehicle with a BAC of 0.04 or more during the final 2 years. Only at year 5 are you even eligible to go back to the district court, serve the prosecuting attorney, and politely ask for your full, unrestricted license back. And you know what? After all that, the court can still say no.
Finally, we have reached Level 4. Foreigners driving across America. The final boss. We've looked at strict state laws and commercial rules, but what happens when international logistics clash with the American system? A European user actually posted online asking if they could come to the US on a tourist visa, buy a secondhand car, and live in a different state every 2 to 3 months indefinitely, staying in Airbnbs. Well, the community insights quickly shattered this illusion. First off, a standard tourist visa usually maxes out at 90 to 180 days, so living here indefinitely is just a non-starter. But the driving bureaucracy is the real shocker for outsiders. In the US, cars are registered with individual states, not the federal government. So if you buy a car and move to a new state every 3 months, you are technically supposed to get a new license, a new registration, and update your insurance for every single state you move to. Let's weigh the brutal pros and cons here for an international visitor. Buying a car seems smart at first, right? Because you retain the asset. But the cons? It's an absolute bureaucratic nightmare. To register a car, many states require a fixed address, which hopping between Airbnbs often doesn't satisfy. Some states even require a valid social security number to register a car, which a tourist simply doesn't have. Plus, trying to insure a car as a foreigner with 0 US driving history is just astronomically expensive. Okay, so what about renting a car? The pros are huge. You avoid all the state-by-state registration and insurance paperwork entirely, making cross-state travel super easy. The con? It is incredibly expensive. As one contributor noted, long-term rentals from places like Enterprise can run around $1,262 a month for an SUV. It's a massive premium that you're paying simply to bypass the bureaucracy.
So what should we really take away from all this? The ultimate lesson of this explainer is that bureaucracy scales. It scales with the severity of your vehicle, just like we saw with the incredibly strict 0.04 BAC for commercial drivers back in Level 2. It scales with your actions, as we saw with the grueling 5-year interlock penalty box in Level 3. And it scales with your geography, as our European friend discovered trying to navigate 50 different sets of state vehicle registries in Level 4.
I want to leave you with this final thought. We've seen how tough it is to get a commercial license, how brutal the punishment is for a DUI, and how nearly impossible it is for an outsider to simply buy a car and drive. Does this dense bureaucratic maze effectively protect public safety by keeping dangerous drivers off the road and tracking every vehicle? Or does it just tie us up in endless red tape, draining our time and money with obscure rules and really rigid timelines? It's a tricky balance that every society has to strike.
Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. And hey, next time you're stuck waiting at the DMV, just remember, you're only playing level 1.